Welcome to my channel. Before we start the video, we will discuss about previous question. So question was, the pregnant client at 8 weeks of gestation tells the nurse that she is experiencing morning sickness upon wakening. By lunchtime, she no longer has issues with nausea and vomiting. What should the nurse instruct the client to do? So answer is, interventions for nausea and vomiting in pregnant client include eating dry crackers before rising, eating small frequent low-fat meals during the day, drinking liquids between meals rather than at meals. The client should avoid fried foods and spicy foods and avoid brushing teeth immediately after rising. So now we will discuss about risk conditions during pregnancy. So first question is, the nurse is providing instructions to a pregnant client with HIV infection regarding care to the newborn after delivery. The client asks the nurse about the available feeding options. Which response should the nurse make to the client? Options are, you will need to feed your newborn by nasogastric feeding. You will be able to breastfeed for 6 months and then will need to switch to bottle feeding. You will be able to breastfeed for 9 months and then will need to switch to bottle feeding. You will need to bottle feed your newborn. So answer is D. You will need to bottle feed your newborn. Perinatal transmission of HIV can occur during the antepartum period, during labor and birth, or in the postpartum period if the mother is breastfeeding. Clients who have HIV are advised not to breastfeed. Question number 2. The home care nurse visits a pregnant client who has a diagnosis of preeclampsia. Which assessment finding indicates a worsening of a preeclampsia and the need to notify the physician? Options are, urinary output has decreased, dependent edema has resolved, the blood pressure reading is at the prenatal baseline, the client complains of headache and blurred vision. So answer is D. The client complains of headache and blurred vision. If the client complains of headache and blurred vision, inform the doctor, because these are signs of worsening preeclampsia. Option A, B and C are normal findings. Question number 3. A stillborn baby was delivered in the birthing suite a few hours ago. After the delivery, the family remained together, holding and touching the baby. Which statement by the nurse would assist the family in their period of grief? Options are, don't worry, there is nothing you could have done to prevent this from happening. Now you have an angel in heaven. What can I do for you? We will see to it that you have an early discharge so that you don't have to be reminded of this experience. So answer is C. What can I do for you? When a loss or death occurs, the nurse should ensure that the parents have been honestly told about the situation by their doctor and other healthcare teams. It is important for the nurse to be with the parents at this time and to use therapeutic communication techniques. The nurse must also consider cultural and religious practices and beliefs. Question number 4. A pregnant client reports to a healthcare clinic complaining of loss of appetite, weight loss and fatigue. After an assessment of the client, tuberculosis is suspected. A sputum culture is obtained and identifies Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Which instructions should the nurse include in the client's staging plan? Options are, therapeutic abortion is required, isoniazid plus rifampicin will be acquired for 9 months, she will have to stay at home until treatment is completed, medication will not be started until after the delivery of the fetus. So answer is B. Isoniazid plus rifampicin will be required for 9 months. More than one medication may be used to prevent the growth of resistant organisms in a pregnant client with tuberculosis. Treatment must continue for a prolonged period. The preferred treatment for the pregnant client is isoniazid plus rifampicin daily for 9 months. Ethambutol is added initially if medication resistance is suspected. The client does not need to stay at home during treatment and therapeutic abortion is not required. Question number 5. The nurse evaluates the ability of a hepatitis B positive mother to provide safe bottle feeding to her newborn during postpartum hospitalization. Which maternal action best exemplifies the mother's knowledge of potentially disease transmission to the newborn? Options are, the mother requests that the window be closed before feeding, the mother holds the newborn properly during feeding and burping, the mother tests the temperature of the formula before initiating feeding, the mother washes and dried her hands before and after self-care of the perineum and asks for a pair of gloves before feeding. So answer is D. The mother washes and dried her hands before and after self-care of the perineum and asked for a pair of gloves before feeding. Hepatitis B virus is highly contagious and is transmitted by direct contact with blood and body fluids of infected persons. The rationale for identifying childbearing clients with this disease is to provide adequate protection of the fetus and newborn, to minimize transmission to other individuals, and to reduce maternal complications. So now we will discuss about important points regarding risk conditions during pregnancy. Point number 1. Obesity places the client at increased risk for complication during pregnancy. Excessive weight gain places stress on the heart. Point number 2. Spot breastfeeding after neonatal treatment for hepatitis B. Breastfeeding is not contraindicated if the neonate has been vaccinated. Point number 3. Infants at risk for HIV infection need to receive all recommended immunizations on the regular schedule. However, no live vaccines should be administered. Point number 4. Signs of preeclampsia are hypertension and proteinuria. So now there is a question for you for critical thinking. So question is, a pregnant client with diabetes mellitus asks the nurse about insulin needs during pregnancy. What information should the nurse provide to the client? Answer will be discussed in the next video.